it comes to following someone else, like if I ask you, like, Irfan, you should follow Harun, right? There's always Irfan trying to be like Harun, right? He has to somehow be like Harun and whatnot. Irfan kind of loses his own uniqueness of who he is. But subhanAllah, when it comes to us following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the brother was like, we're not becoming more like the Prophet, we are being the best version of ourselves, right? Yes, we are following the Prophet sallallahu, but if you look at all the companions, they were unique. Each of them were unique. They had their own personalities, their own uniqueness, strengths, and whatnot. And subhanAllah, they became the best version of themselves. And this is the thing that you get when you follow the Prophet sallallahu. And I honestly see that that's what we could gain as a value when it comes to us, building our own organization, and it comes down to even building our own reputation, like we learned earlier, right? So now it comes to the strategy, and I'm just delving into one small thing, which is the Battle of the Trench, where the Prophet ﷺ, took the strategy that Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu gave him, of building that trench, and they basically won that battle just because of that small strategy that was implemented. And strategies are important, and this is where, coming back to the thing that we were discussing earlier, is the question of how the Prophet ﷺ managed to get 100,000 companions, 0 to 100,000 companions before he ﷺ passed away. And that kept growing to 1.9 billion followers, right? And there's a difference between Instagram followers and Facebook followers to actual followers when it comes to the followers of the Prophet ﷺ. I would say the definition of a follower is somebody who actually does something that the one they are following has told them to do, right? The Instagram followers not necessarily, like I might just follow a person, I don't necessarily follow what they tell, right? I might actually completely disagree with this person. And this is so unique where the Prophet ﷺ built that, and you see that it's a strategy that Allah has put even before the prophethood, where the first 40 years, that built of trust and whatnot came into the society, and everything that happened, there was a purpose to it, there was a wisdom behind it, and that's what strategy is. And there's the saying of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, of the definition of wisdom is وَضْعُ الشَّيْءِ فِي مَوَاضِعِهِ, is to put something in its place. And I would extend it further, in its place, in the right time and the right circumstance, right? And when you put it that way, that's what a good strategy is like as an organization. We constantly should look at it that way, where if you're doing something, is it the right time to do it? Is it the right place to do it? Is it the right time? Or should we do it later because there might be a better time to do it to have better impact, right? And this is where strategic da'wah comes, and I just covered that just now. Now, this is just the last bit, and I've gone through basically some of the values, and I've just touched the tip of the iceberg, even when it comes to branding, or when it comes to the Islamic approach, or values, or principles that we can learn and whatnot. And basically, I'm extensively trying to delve into the life of the process of what we can extract in order to see how we can build organizations, how we can build successful companies, or even successful houses, right? Because a house is an organization too. We are having our team as our family and whatnot, and is that constant aligning of the values of that household to the right direction. Now, pillars of branding comes down to 4 things essentially. Comes to the heart strategy. This comes down to your values, your mission, your vision, your purpose, why you exist, all these things. Your culture as an organization. This is what the heart is, and the heart should be something that is very strong, right? Nobody should be entering the organization that is not aligned with this heart. And then comes the verbal strategy aspect of branding. But how do you communicate your values to the world? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself? Right? This is as a Muslim also, right? When we believe something as an individual, we carry ourselves a certain way. And this is how an organization runs. You train your team to act a certain way, talk a certain way, build a particular culture, that everybody is honest to each other, everybody supports each other, all these kinds of different things that are there unique to that organization. Then comes the visual aspect of it. Then comes the face of recognition and the logo and the color and whatnot. But again, we ask ourselves, why did we choose this color? right? Why did we choose red? Why did we choose yellow? Why did we choose this and that? And everything should have a purpose. Because this is what we learn from our deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created every single thing with purpose, even ourselves. And finally comes the actions, where all of these three things comes down to the actions. This action can be a service, can be a product. It can be a service as in you're providing a service to somebody, consultation and whatnot. All these should be reflected in that, right? If you are, let's say, somebody who is a psychologist, like mashallah, our brother Safwan here, right? And in that service, the person who is consulting him, he sees the whole, the heart, the verbal aspect and the visual aspect of the brand. Because you see the person living by what the organization says, right? Otherwise, the organization is hypocritical. I'm not pointing at something. The organization, right, is hypocritical. So, but when you align more and more towards these first three pillars, the organization's actions actually are more aligned and it's more impactful, right? Now, when it comes to products, also the same thing. If you have, let's say, if you're selling tamr, or if you're selling, juice, for instance, a simple product, right? You want to make sure that all these values are incorporated within it, in terms of how it's processed, how it's communicated, how the marketing is done, all these kind of stuff. So this is where the action comes down to it. So alhamdulillah, I've covered most of it. Hopefully it clarifies things to you guys of what branding is, how it impacts, how it works in our world. There's so much more to discuss when it comes to it, because there's so much detail to each and every one of these things, because it's a very complex topic, but of course we simplify it to make it easy for all of us to understand it. So, in conclusion, branding is the art and science of planning spaces in the hearts and minds of people. And honestly, each and every one of us here is creating that space for each other, right? I have a space in my heart for Hazek, or Aisa, or Irfan. It's like, I have a space that I've carved out for them, right? And of course, somebody else wants to come and replace it, of course you need to prove it. So, but subhanAllah, that's how it works. Now, when it comes to being a unique ummah, we explored all of those things, that how our ummah is so unique, right? And how we stand out, and we should delve further into that when it comes to our businesses, building our family, building our community and whatnot. And then the third thing is our Prophet ﷺ's journey is something that we should constantly look at and see how we can relate to it when it comes to our own life and our own careers. And the last thing is the values and principles we learn from Islam, where the things that the Prophet ﷺ left us behind with to become that unique ummah. And wallahi, that's one thing that I would say about our community here, is I see that embodiment here in the community, and that is why there's that bond between us, and that thing that everybody loves each other and cares for each other and whatnot, right? So inshallah, I think we are close to the end. If there are any questions, inshallah, maybe we can go through that after Isha. If not, inshallah, we can call it a day. So, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.